Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a quick Monday update. It's kind of like a follow-up from the Sunday update that I posted last night on Twitter. Basically, you can already start to see Bitcoin triggering the move because if you notice here and you watch a bit closely, you can see one, two, three taps button and drop. Okay, now most of you will be wondering what's next, what is it going to drop to. Okay, so what I see in the chart, I already mentioned this in the Sunday update, is this area over here. Okay, if I mark in the chart, it will be in the $28,730. Okay, this area you can see the Bitcoin range for about this, that's the 19th of March until the 10th of April. That's 3 weeks, 3 weeks of consolidation in this zone. So obviously this area should be tested as a potential support. Okay, I talked about the dollar index last week and how it was potentially forming a W pattern and also the inverse correlation with Bitcoin because Bitcoin trades against the dollar essentially. Okay, so I'm gonna take you to the dollar index in a second. This is the chart, the daily time frame, and you can see very clear this potential W pattern. Also, something that I really like about this is how it swept the lows. You can see with this week over here, okay, swept the previous lows and now it's marching on. If you go into the 1 hour time frame, you can see that since Friday it's bouncing pretty hard, okay, and that's also a reason why Bitcoin is dropping. If you go to the 4 hour time frame, we can see that the dollar index is approaching some very important zones in the chart, okay? And I mean these two zones over here where we saw the previous sell-offs happening, okay? And those are the two previous highs. Also, if you go to the daily time frame, we can see that the 50 EMA is around that area. So what the logic is telling me is that it's very likely that we see the dollar going towards these zones, and then we could see a rejection, and that's where Bitcoin could do exactly the opposite, could go up. Let's have a look at the liquidation charts in high block. If you go to the 7 days time frame, we're gonna be able to see the logic behind this move for Bitcoin. Okay, so let's get this zone. I think this was in the weekend, and you could see that Bitcoin was between two very important liquidity zones. To the upside we had 31,300 and to the downside we had 29,100. So in my opinion what happened here is that first the dollar was looking very bullish because on Friday it bounced pretty hard, so the most likely scenario was that Bitcoin was on a range in the weekend because you know that the dollar index is closed on weekends. And then on Monday, when the dollar can trade, we would see continuation for that bounce in the dollar index and then continuation for Bitcoin to the downside. Okay, so that was pretty much what I wanted to say in the Sunday update and in my previous tweets. That's why we have here a very interesting zone right below us, 29,100. What gets my attention is that you can see Bitcoin went to 29,200, just so close to 29,100, and went up. This to me is a liquidity run to the upside to make people open more longs, so the liquidations in this area and the stop losses can increase, and then when they come down they're gonna hit more stop losses and more liquidations. Okay, so I think that Bitcoin will eventually go to 29,100 this week. um, you can see that there is even a lot more liquidity in 29,000, 28,900, 28,850. There is still quite a lot of liquidity in this area, so we could of course go below than 29,100. Going back to the Bitcoin chart, we can see how this level that we marked over here, that it was the previous resistance, matches with those liquidations in high block, okay? Which is very interesting how the previous resistance that in principle should be tested next as a support has a lot of liquidity, okay? This really gets my attention, and that's also why I think that Bitcoin can go to this area. Now, if you remember the dollar chart that we were looking at earlier, we were expecting the dollar to go higher to attack those two important zones in the chart, and then we could see a rejection in the dollar. Now, if the dollar goes higher, that means that Bitcoin is going to go lower, and then if the dollar gets a rejection, Bitcoin can bounce. Okay, so that is the trick that I'm looking at now. I'm going to try to see what happens in lower time frames in this area, but I think that 29,100 should be tagged this week, and then from there we'll see if we can go all the way to 28,730, and in this area over here we can look for bounces. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say in this first YouTube video. As is the first video, please show all the support that you can, share, give it a like, and the most important, tell me if you like the video or not, and if you want to see more. So that's pretty much everything. Thank you guys for watching, and I see you soon.